I came here when I was 28, and I remember when I first got here. One of the things I was excited about back then were the kinds of young people that would come here at that time, because for the kind of person that came back then, it wasn't glamorous, it wasn't showy, there weren't lights and cameras and smoke. It was just fiery people and maybe somebody that knew how to run sound, maybe somebody that knew how to play drums, maybe. But so much hunger and a desire to find something that they hadn't seen before and experience something in God that they had heard about from history, but now we're realizing was possible. America is so what's new and what's now and what's fresh. What's the new thing? Of course, then we get this kind of young person that doesn't care about what American culture says. And we get this kind of young person that doesn't care about the fresh and the now. There's an ache for the ancient and the real. They're looking for fathers and mothers that have gone somewhere in God. And there's just a certain kind of person that looks for that. I remember when Asbury Seminary, it's a graduate school where we've had 40, 50 of our graduates now over the past few years, do one of their programs. And so Asbury approaches us to interview us, to ask us. They go, what are you guys doing in your undergrad program to produce the kind of graduates that you're producing? We said, well, what are we producing? And they said, you got to know that your graduates, as we kind of look at our seminary, we want more of them because when they come, they lead, they set culture. They go into the prayer room and they lead the prayer meetings. I love this phrase. They have an unusual sense of destiny and purpose. They know where they want to go and why they're with us. And so they have the highest cumulative grade point average of any other group that's here, meaning they're focused, they're serious. One Asbury seminary student told a story. They said, we know who the IHOPers are. We know the ones that came out of IHOPU because they know the Word. They know the Bible, and it provokes us. We think of fiery as intense, but actually I think of fiery as stabilized. There's a steadiness to the heart. There's a stability to my life when I discover that the love of Jesus was the constant in every season. And for a young person to discover that, and for a young person to come into that in the acceleration of a prayer room and the presence of God, to get to watch that in a short amount of time. Sometimes in a church you can watch that for 30 years. But there's something about what we call the greenhouse of prayer, the accelerated process of prayer, worship, Bible, presence, friends. And that accelerated process brings a young person into steadiness of heart, shockingly fast, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. They come out of performing and they come into authentic love. And more than what they can do and more than the skills they acquire, they've become someone. You just gasp at the grace of God and what's possible, at what the love of God can do to even the weakest of hearts. What other place would I want my kids to be? What other place would I want to be?